สวัสดีค่ะ Good morning Welcome to Morning Thailand of December 16th 2013 I am Tulip Nak Sampok
and I'm Wanasorn Kurahong.
And what will be on the news today?
Well, a lot has happened,
first
Kun
break?
Tulip. I mean, we know that the anticipation just this weekend about this past weekend was quite big because
There were so many forums.
Yeah, a lot of forums, and we were kind of jokingly said that it would be a great time for a lot of political science students to actually get to test what they learned in class and see what people did in terms of applying it to real life.
Hear it in literally and see how they actually implemented.
Exactly. So, well, I'm not sure about implementation at this point, but at least we know that they use a lot of those in terms of discussion, and I'm pretty sure that it's going to be a great time for a lot of people. I think Thai people are a lot more active in terms of politics and such.
True.
However, first thing first, we're just going to give you updates of what happened on Friday as well as Saturday. However, first thing first though, a good news for a lot of Thai people because we know that His Majesty the King has been hospitalized for some time and just recently resided at the Kai Kangwon palace in the Hua Hin district of Prachuap Khiri Khan province, and that was one of the things that we are actually quite happy about. However, yesterday His Majesty the King actually left the Kai Kangwon palace and visit one of his many royal projects, and this is in the Phetburi province. As you can see here, this is called Chang Hua Man project, and we have seen His Majesty the King visit this particular project for quite a bit due to the fact that it's create quite a bit of agricultural developments and such for people in the area, and plus His Majesty the King is known to have a lot of interest in terms of trying to make sure that all the agricultural sector in the country is fully developed. So as you can see here, this is one of the project that took place. So His Majesty the King is feeding a calf that belongs to the royal project and is called Chang Hua Man, as I said. And they say that this is unofficial trip, obviously, and this particular project look at the cattle farm management system. So as you can see there, and His Majesty the King obviously is very happy and appears to be a lot stronger than he was during his time in the hospital. Now, having said that, Her Royal Highness Princess Julapon Walailak has also talked about His Majesty the King as well as Her Majesty the Queen's health as well. Now, in Beijing of China, Her Royal Highness Princess Julapon is actually currently there to join a concert that runs from December the 11th all the way to the 21st. And Princess Julapon has said that both Their Majesty the King and the Queens are pretty happy and very healthy, and most importantly, they're quite refreshing in terms of getting a chance to be in the beach town. Sorry, that's what the word I'm looking for. And they say that
sea breeze.
Exactly, and Her Royal Highness Princess Julapon has said that because obviously in hospital, even though they take a very good care of both Their Majesty King and Queen, it's still quite depressing to be in the hospital for a long time. Now, she said that another things that a lot of reporters has asked Her Royal Highness Princess Julapon is that about the situation, current situation in Thailand right now and how she feels. Now, she said that I would like to request for all Thai people to love the country as well as to make sure that love, meaning that you have to be honest as well as to be loyal to the country as well, and not to think too much of the individual gains, rather to focus as well on the mutual gain of the entire country, therefore meaning that corruption is unacceptable. And she requested that everyone think about the benefit of and being fair to the benefit of the people as a whole and not just one group or the other. And she said that just remembers that you're all Thai and such. And of course, Her Royal Highness Princess Julapon is quite well known for her talent in music, especially guzheng, which is one of the Chinese musical instruments, and she's actually quite mastered in it as well.
Okay, now we're going to move to the political news a little bit. There were several forums going on over the weekend, and one of the big one that everybody really interested to know and anticipated was the one hosted by the military section, which actually this is happened after PDRC has been asking PDRC has been asking the military to meet with them and to take side and such. So finally, the military said, or the Supreme Commander actually said, okay, we're going to hold a forum and we want to hear from many sides as possible. Reportedly, the red shirt got invitation, but no one participated. This happened on Saturday at the Armed Force Directorate of Joint Civil Affairs at the government complex. Of course, center of attention will be what the Army has to say or the Thai military has to say by the Supreme Commander, General Thanasak Patimakon, and also what PDRC, People's Democrat Reform Committee Secretary General Suthep Thaugsuban has to say to the public to explain himself. It started off with the opening speech by General Thanasak Patimapakon himself, that he said that he wants all sides to respect the rules so the country can move forward, and he believes that everybody that participated in the forum on Saturday are all patriotic and no one wants to damage the country even though they have different ways of thinking. So he would love for the atmosphere of the talk to be friendly like brother and sister, and he want the forum to be free from conflicts, which I would say that's
pretty much everyone wanted that.
Yeah, but when you talk about discussion, most of the time it comes with the conflict. And so the Supreme Commander said that the purpose of actually, Suthep Thaugsuban said that he wants to meet with the Supreme Commander because he wants to explain the purpose of the movement of PDRC itself. He said that PDRC want to pave way for the election system to be free from vote buying, and PDRC is aimed to introduce stricter and more concrete laws against corruption. He even said that right now there are two alternatives for the PDRC. One is to let Ms. Yingluck step down as caretaker premier to allow someone else to be appointed premier, and or two, to continue its mass protest peacefully using civil disobedience. So General Thanasak actually asked Suthep how the problem would be resolved in a fair and just manner. So he replied that the easiest way out is to have the Prime Minister step down. So that is pretty clear for everyone. Bottom line for the PDRC demand right now is for the Prime Minister to step down as the caretaker. Suthep said that he believed the army in the past would bring in tanks and stage a coup, but the new generation wouldn't do that. But PDRC want the army to be a hero by siding with the people. He said that he cannot keep on fighting for a year and more people will join, but he knows that it will affect the economy. And Suthep even said that he tried to finish the game earlier, but the government held on to power, so he is waiting for the military decision. So in the opening remark, General Thanasak also said that he heard many of Suthep's speech, but as military, he is not really understand the politics.
Okay.
So that is something I don't think people expect to hear from the Supreme Commander at the forum. During the meeting, it was also attended by many sides, such as the Thammasat University academic side. They have the Vice Rector, Dr. Parinya Thewanarumit Kun, and he also proposed an alternative solution for this. He said that a referendum could be held on the election date, which is set on the February 2nd, and voters could decide whether they wanted the country to go through a reform process. If the result shows that they support a reform, the next administration would have to implement it. And also Vice Chairman of the Thai Chamber of Commerce also attend this forum, Vichai Asaratsakon. He said that he urged all sides, all the opposing political sides, to work together to find means to end the crisis before this election. And the economy has already suffered because of the continuing protests over the past 6 weeks. So, and actually, just earlier, before this forum happened, Mr. Suthep was also at the Thammasat University, that he has asked the academics to join his movement to set up an appointed People's Council. So, all in all, General Thanasak Patimapakorn said himself that the military would be a neutral observers and will oversee the election and make sure it take place on the February 2nd.
That was one of the things that they're trying to express, is that militaries has to follow rules. Like there's rules, there's laws, and a lot of people interpret that most definitely as, they are once again backing up, and a lot more news on the front pages today. It's just talking about how a lot of parties are backing up this particular upcoming election, and even Capo Chief, Surapong Towichakchaikun, who's also the foreign minister, talking about foreign countries over 40s, came out and he read the letters.
But it's not that PDRC doesn't want the election, but they don't want it to happen that soon. Right now, I think it's between the side of just election on February 2nd and wouldn't change, and also another side will be they want the reform to finish before the next general election. And so if the Supreme Commander said that February 2nd, so it's already said the military pick the side of want this election to happen on February 2nd.
Okay, so a lot of discussion yet. I think PDRC will soon have to come up with a clear solution at this point, because like Kun Tulip said, there was a forum as well at Thammasat University, and one of the people that joined, especially actually on the 14th, just to start, kick off this particular several trails of forum, is the PDRC's academics. Now, these academics are the one that actually working closely with the PDRC themselves, and they say that they are talking about, like Kun Tulip has mentioned, the reform before the general election on February the 2nd, and they said that one of the biggest name is Kun Banjert Singkhaneti, who's talking about the best time right now to reform for Thailand. And he also mentioned the fact that there are several models that we could actually follow, meaning, for example, the first one would be from the United States. I'm not quite sure which part, which era he's talking about, but he said that was when the politicians can no longer lead the country. However, he said that the second one would be the best, which is France, where both the citizens as well as the military pretty much have enough of it and came out and talked to told the politicians that there needs to be a reform within 6 months, and later on the politicians abide by that particular request. And That's in turn shaped the situation or political situation in France itself. Now, he said that the last one would probably be, and the one that they don't want is the one in Germany, where everything was pretty much in terms of conflict and such, it just pretty much blowed up in the face of everyone else. So I'm not quite sure. I probably could not pinpoint in terms of what exactly have happened, but this is what mentioned in Thai Rat newspaper. And they say that another academic that came out and talked about this is Kun Kiatichai Pongpanit. Of course, he mentioned about the fact that the current constitution that he has actually helped writing in this particular case, say that this create quite a bit of a problem, because at this point a lot of people would like to see what they call a new democracy that would actually be far away from what he called the Thaksin regime. And he said that they request for the Prime Minister to actually resigned altogether in all positions. That was one of the main things that he pointed out. And the last person talking in this particular forum is Kun Kitisak Prokati. Now, he's also a professor at Thammasat University, talking about the fact that this is the uprising at this time. These are not the minority. And he said that they are wanting the democracy to be reformed. And he said that if the election cannot be postponed, then he would request that everyone embrace this particular election, not to worry too much about it. And at this point, at least we got something going already. So I think overall, a lot of the academics that attended this particular forum on the 14th will actually voice their concerns that there needs to be a strong movement in terms of trying to dissolve this particular or resolve this particular problem or reform before the election, if they can move it. So at this point, we're not sure what's going to happen.
Okay. So there was also another forum going on, but this one, it's also about politics, but more like the local situation, what's going on in the southern part of Thailand. Over the weekend on Saturday, there was, I would say it's pretty close to public hearing, because there are local people also attend. The event happened at the Southern Border Provinces Administration Center, and it's open for local people to discuss their problems and what they need in terms of the life security, and also how to develop the southern provinces. One of the council committee, Chayong Mani Rungsakul, raised the concern, the issues about security and the protection measures, because there is some intelligence that show information that shows that there is a plan for big violence that will happen during the New Year Eve, during this holiday season. So he urged all the officials to come up with stricter measures in terms of security. He also mentioned the incident that happened in Pattani province in Nong Jik district, where 5 Thai Buddhists were killed, and also 5 officials were killed in Pattani province in Graphaw district also. That he said that the incident that happened that actually get Thai Buddhists killed is from the incident that the Army Area Region 4 actually tried to arrest or what we call storming, or try to raid the base of the insurgent and try to arrest the suspect. But what happened was there was a clash going on between the officials and the insurgent. So they believe that this is the revenge of the insurgent to kill the 5 Thai Buddhism in retaliation of the officials' operation. So Mr. Chaiyong actually has asked the army to, if they were to do this again, at least should share information to the local people so they can prepare themselves. But one of the things, I listened to one of the security officials from the South before in some of the interviews that he actually cannot really share much information about these operations sometimes because some of the local people actually has strong connection with the insurgents.
Right.
So if they share too much information, chances they won't be able to arrest or make their plan effective. So I guess that's why they kind of keep
Have
it
to withdraw,
secret.
withhold the information a little bit.
Yeah, but it's not normal, the situation, so it's a bit difficult. And Major General Charin Amon-Gao, which is the Deputy Army Area Commander Region 4, he actually admit that the situation that happened, that it's because of some loopholes or some loose end by the operation himself. So he also apologized for the loss of life.
So it could have been avoided. Next time.
Or it couldn't be,
But that's one other thing. I think the biggest concern is that violence that might happen this new year. So they're probably going to have to stricter measure for sure. All right, let's take a short break. We'll come back. We talk a little bit about updates in terms of the 27th SEA Games, as well as Lin Hui, our favorite pandas. Apparently, she might be pregnant. So please stay tuned.